Okay, well, my first question, Cassie, would be, now that the Mortal Instruments is over, what's it like knowing that your baby, your first baby, is over?
Oh, don't say that. It's sad. I think I haven't quite come to terms with it yet because the book's not out. And so until all the readers get a chance to kind of say goodbye to the characters, I won't feel like it's quite completely over. But then if Infernal Devices is anything to go by or whatever, I'll feel kind of sad and I'll miss them, you know. It helps to be working on new projects and have new characters to connect with, but, you know, City of Bones was my first book, so in a way, it's always going to be sort of, you know, my first baby.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how does it feel like ending Infernal Devices and ending Mortal Instruments? Which one do you think is going to be harder for the fans, really?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, Infernal Devices certainly was a kind of a bittersweet ending, and I know that made a lot of people cry. But on the other hand, you know, this is a 6-book series, and it's been going on for longer. Sort of lived with the characters for longer, and I think that probably, like me, there's going to be a certain amount of letting go. Sorrow, you know. I mean, at the end of any kind of long series, you have that feeling of like you've lived with these characters for such a long time, and now you're sort of parted from them. It's a strange feeling to kind of leave it behind. But I'm hoping that people will follow into the last hours and into the dark artifices, and so they'll still catch glimpses of the characters from Infernal Devices and Mortal Instruments, and
The ones that live.
the ones that live. But hopefully, I mean, for me, it cushions the blow of having to stop writing about them. You know, they're still there, and I still get to write about them. So I'm hoping it'll be the same for them.
So the Mortal Instruments was originally supposed to be just a trilogy. What made you carry on writing about them, and now that they're over, are you glad that you did?
Well, originally it was meant to be a trilogy, and then I was going to start a different series, a spin-off series about Simon. And so what happened was we announced the book about Simon right before, I think before City of Glass came out, and then I went to go work on it, and I was actually with 2 good friends of mine in Mexico, and I just had started the book, and I came out like sort of in tears, and I was like, I just don't think this is going to work. You know, I've realized that I'm writing about this book about Simon, but it doesn't work without all of his friends too. And, you know, I want to bring in more story for Isabel and for Alec. I don't feel like things are over for Alec. And then, you know, there's also Jason Clare, and I really feel like I have to make this an ensemble. And so they convinced me that I should talk to the publisher about it. And so basically what happened was, instead of a spin-off series about Simon, it just became a sort of a second series about everybody. The same things kind of happened to Simon that were planned to happen, but the rest of the story got filled in too. And I am glad that I did it that way, because even though what I, you know, originally had conceived of was just writing about Simon, I felt like I was able to bring the other characters, who some of them didn't feel to me like they were quite finished, like Alec and Isabel at the end of City of Glass, to a place where I felt like their stories were told.
Charlotte on Twitter asked, what's your favourite line in the whole Mortal Instruments series?
Oh, I hate picking lines that I wrote myself. It's so horrible. Oh, let me think. I mean, it might be, probably something early on. I think when Jay says to Clary, use my rapier wit to hide my inner pain, because it's funny, because it's true. You know, it's a very accurate observation about himself.
And also, similar to that, Samantha on Twitter asked, what scene from any Mortal Instruments book was the most exciting to write about that had you grinning for days?
I think...
Obviously, no spoilers.
I know, I was like, how do I answer that without spoiling anything from City of Heavenly Fire? There were a couple of really fun scenes in City of Heavenly Fire that I got to write, and I don't know if I'm allowed to give spoilers or not, but one of them has to do with Simon getting some spiked blood from Raphael and sort of wandering around the city of Alicante.
Oh, no.
As a somewhat drunk vampire. I really enjoyed that. And then there have been a bunch of other scenes that I've had a lot of fun writing. I always like writing parties. So Magnus's big party that he has in the first book was super fun for me to write. I loved writing the ending of City of Glass and the big party in Alicante. And also the club scene in City of Lost Souls, where everything seems like a great party and then turns really dark and sinister.
Becca on Twitter asked, do you find it hard to kill off characters that you know mean a lot to the readers? And Daisy asked, how do you decide who dies and what makes them death worthy?
Oh no, it's not like a lottery, you know, where you sort of, or where you like line up the characters and you think who's been bad lately and needs to die. I mean, usually their death was planned out from the beginning, like with Max. And when I brought him into the story, he was brought in to die. I knew he was going to die, you know, from the moment he appeared, that he was going to be the sort of child sacrifice. And so usually, yes, it makes me sad to kill characters, especially when I know that they mean a lot to the reader. There's definitely at least, you know, one death in City of the Heavenly Fire that I think people are going to be really sad about, and I felt sad when I was writing it. But there are sometimes the character's arc is just an arc that, you know, where death, I think, is sort of the inevitable end of it for whatever reason, you know. I felt like Max had to die to kind of underline how terrible the war was, and also to have an effect on the other Lightwoods and the whole family. And so in the same way, hopefully the deaths don't seem, you know, random. They're not there just to say, you know, life is sometimes terrible, but, you know, they mean something to the other characters.
Imogen on Twitter asked, who's your favourite character that you've written about and why?
I don't really have a favourite because I kind of love them all, but I would say that Simon and Tessa are the most like me. Mm-hmm. Tessa probably because she reads so much, and Simon kind of has a lot of my sense of humor and attitude about the world, and Magnus is the most fun to write about.
This one is Alicia's question. Will Chairman Meow ever meet Church?
Well, I can tell you that Chairman Meow and Church both survive City of Heavenly Fire because I'm against killing cats. I have a cat, and I would never kill a cat in a book. They don't meet in City of Heavenly Fire, I'll admit, but a mysterious thing does happen to Church at the end of the book, and so I think it's very possible that in the future he will meet Chairman Meow.
Okay, great, thank you.
But I don't know if they'll have a relationship.
Oh, that's what we're all hoping for.
It's you know, Alec and Magnus, and then of course their cats should be together. It'll be very beautiful.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.